Hi, everybody. Welcome to Life Stories People Helping People. I'm Shara Goswick, your host, and I am so glad that you're here. Today on the podcast, I speak with Shawn Lemon, who started a company called The Digital Organizer. Shawn and his team help individuals and businesses get organized online. Our word of the week this week
It's the word of the week.
is obvious, but it's organized. I thought I was pretty organized. I am still, I feel like I'm old, but I have to see things on paper and see things, all at once to feel comfortable in what I'm doing. And the more I talked to Shawn, the more I realized there are a lot of things I could change to be more efficient and to maybe get rid of some clutter and chaos that are not necessary. I would encourage you, if you have a business or if you spend a lot of time on your computer doing any kind of work, I would encourage you to go to his website and take the quiz to see how organized you are, because you might be surprised at what you could do to help streamline a lot of the work that you're doing and take excess tasks away from you that you don't need to mess with. I thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy this conversation. Have a great day.
Hello, hello.
Hey, how are
Okay.
you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. It said two people were entering the
It
room.
was it was my Fathom note taker and I canceled it.
Yeah,
So,
I
yeah.
just learned what that was the other day because
Uh-huh.
I had an interview with somebody and the same thing popped up. I'm like, what is that?
Yep,
Yep.
it's in like AI recording thing. So you finish
Yeah.
your call and it tells you what your action items are. It'll tell you all about your meeting. It's got it transcribed. It has it
Oh,
recorded.
wow.
It's a really phenomenal tool to use. There's a bunch of different ones out there.
Yeah.
Fathom is, I think, by far the most popular one
Yeah.
out there. But yeah.
Very cool. Well, thanks for talking to me today. I'm excited about this because I am on that line of at my age, people who still like to do things on paper.
Yeah,
And so I'm sure you talk to people like that. So I'm excited to learn what you do with your
great.
company. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Well, I'm excited to talk to you.
Well, good. Thank you so much. So
Uh-huh.
do you call yourself the digital organizer, or is that just the name of your company?
It's the name of the company. Yeah.
Okay. So you don't
So,
walk
and
around,
actually, I
with a
don't even
badge that
do.
says I'm the digital organizer.
Yeah, I don't even do the digital organization myself
Oh yeah.
anymore. I have a couple other people who've been doing it over the past 3 years. So
Okay.
I'm doing business development, the most technical stuff. Like I just got off Zoom with someone else. We're setting up Google Workspace for them and like the
Mhm.
whole environment and kind of helping talk them through all of the different things of why they would want to use it and just making sure that everything's dialed in. And then I'm going to pass them off to our primary organizer, Scotty, who's going to work with her to consolidate all of her files, get her
Awesome.
computers all synced up so that she can grab her laptop and go work from a coffee shop instead of at home. She's got 3 kids. And so
Yeah.
it's like figuring out that all that sort
Yeah.
of thing. Hmm.
So why did you start this company? What made you want to do this?
Yeah. So I wanted to do it because I was working at the Apple store and I was teaching people how to use their new computers. You could
This would
buy.
help.
Yeah. I thought it was a little quiet. You're good.
It'll be fine.
So I was working at the Apple store teaching people how to use their new stuff.
Mhm.
And often we would have people, when they bought their new computers, they'd bring their old ones and have the technicians copy all their data from the old computer to the new. And they're expecting to get this fresh start with a brand new computer. And then they open it up and there's this giant mess. And some people were fine with that and they could just get to sorting it. And others would just freeze.
Yeah.
And it would just feel so overwhelming of how
Mhm.
do I get this under control? And there was no help for it. Like we weren't there to help people sort out their issues, but
Right.
to teach them the features of an app. And
Yeah.
so no one was filling this space of actually helping people organize digitally and understand how they should use the tools, not just the feature, but how do
Right.
you use it for you of getting this ideas out of your head and into this and organized in a way that makes sense for you to be able to find it with a couple of clicks.
Right.
And even still, there's almost no one doing it. It's just us, and we're coming up on our 11th year now, and we're finally seeing some home organizers and things kind of pop into the space, trying to get into the digital side. So it's been it's been interesting and really gratifying to be able to help sort this out and teach while getting organized. And then someone comes from a neophyte to really being um, fluent in what they
Right.
need to do, not a master of every single app, but fluent
Right.
in what's important to them, because we don't all need to be masters of every
Right.
single piece of technology we own.
But everything now is digital. And so, I've always felt like I was pretty good at, working my way around a computer, but I get overwhelmed sometimes with things because
Yeah.
everything is digital. I have a, I had to make myself a form, and there's probably an easier way to do this on my computer. I printed out a form and I made copies of it where I have a place for notes, each person I'm talking to, the date I'm
Yeah.
talking to them, because I have to see it. It's
Hmm.
hard for me. I've got to be able to see the whole thing. And so I'm sure there are things I could do better than I'm doing. Do you work strictly with businesses or do you work with individuals as well?
We do individuals as well.
You do. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah.
Very cool. So what is the biggest problem do you think people have, the biggest hang up, or where you're able to help them the most in what you're doing?
I think the biggest thing is committing to a system and going all in on it and
Yeah.
finishing the process. So often we have a problem, we get presented with a solution of a new app or a new service that's supposed to help. We
Yeah.
start using it, but we don't finish the process of migrating everything from the old place to the new.
Yeah.
And in doing so, we haven't really learned at least the basics of how that new tool works and reimagine what our system should really look like. And
Yeah.
so then stuff just gets spread out between the two different platforms. And then it happens again because then someone tells us we need to use Notion and someone else tells us we need to use Evernote and
Right.
Todoist and Asana and Dropbox. And then our stuff is just spread out all over the place,
Right.
when this stuff is actually simple
Yeah.
if we're keeping it simple. But
Right.
when it's fragmented, that's the problem.
Yeah. What about somebody who thinks they have it all under control? They could probably use some help. Um, what would you suggest to someone who is saying, I got it. I don't need to get organized anyway. How could you help them? How could you tell them that you could help them?
You know, I'd say one of the best ways to do that is to take the quiz on our website, which is
Mhm.
how organized are you? Because those questions aren't about how good is your file structure or how are you
Right.
naming your files. It's all about, is it actually effective? Like,
Yeah.
how long does it take? What is your experience? How are you feeling when you're using this technology? And that's going to give you an indication of if this is actually, if your systems are working well for you or not.
Right.
And because I don't personally think that you probably need folders for your email. Like, why are we sorting email unless you're a realtor and
Why do
you,
you not need folders for your email? Because I have a lot of them.
because we can just search. The search is so much faster. What I found is in I like having things organized. I like having a
Right.
place for things. And so I would sort all the emails from Apple, and I would sort
Yeah.
all the emails from Josh and from Scott and from
Right.
Robin, and I would put them all in there. And then in the end, I had so many folders that I'm scrolling and I'm having to manage this whole system of folders,
Yeah.
when once it gets so big, you just start searching. And then
So
you
what do you
realize the
do with
search
your
is actually
emails?
good.
Do
Hmm?
you archive them?
I
Refer
archive.
to them?
I
Okay.
delete things that I never want to see again.
Okay.
And I archive anything that it's possible I might look for it again, because it's
Okay.
all searchable.
Okay. You're blowing my mind here. I have all my folders. I have to know where everything is.
If you need to, if you have some stuff that's like, I don't know how I'm ever going to find this again,
Yeah.
and it's really about communication and it's not like a file, because I think you should download files that were given to you over
Right.
email and put them in your folder structure and then archive the email should be about communication, not filing. But
Right.
sometimes we may need to file certain pieces of communication, or it just makes us feel safe to do that.
It
Like
does.
with my home purchases and sales,
Right.
I have folders for those transactions because there's a ton of emails with a bunch of people I'm never going to remember who they are. Now,
Yeah.
have I ever looked at those emails again? No. But does it make me feel
Just in
good
case. Yes.
that they're in a folder and they can be found? Yes. And so that folder still exists.
Yeah.
But I those are one-off circumstances. I do have a few folders that I use, which
Yeah.
are for newsletters that I actually read, which are very few,
Yeah.
and my receipts and purchases and all the stuff related to that. And I have an automated system that puts emails into those folders for me.
Oh, that's very cool. Yeah,
Hmm.
there's probably a lot I could get rid of, but I do have lots of folders. What is your favorite thing about what you do?
I would say uh, helping people to feel less stressed.
Yeah.
um you know everyone's always trying to advise me to for my sales numbers, whatever, to try and equate the return on investment, like try and find out how much people value their time, and put a dollar amount and show them how your service is going to save them money. And
Right.
like, okay, it doesn't really work except for some CEOs. What most people care about most is how they're feeling, and they are frustrated about
Yeah.
dealing with their technology and they want that problem gone. And when I've got somebody who's actually resistant to clearing their inbox, like they want help with it but they don't think they need to do zero inbox, and we're like, let's just do an experiment and roll with this, and you don't have to keep up with it and you don't have to do this, but just follow the process. And we
Yeah.
do, and then they come back the next session and it's like, I had no idea how much I was stressed out by my email.
Right.
And then, and then months later or years later, someone's just like, I'm so excited. I'm still organized and I'm still using
Yeah.
this stuff and benefiting from it. And it just feels so good to know where everything is at. And, it's how we spend our days is how we spend our lives. And if you're staring at a computer all day,
Right. That's no fun.
it's no fun.
That's not fun. So on your website, one of the things I loved was your case studies. You had different people that had sort of testimonials, but it wasn't just a testimony. It was like you went from the very beginning of what the problem was that they had,
Yeah.
and step by step, like you explained it all on your website.
Yeah.
That was awesome because you can read an Amazon review, but
Right.
I didn't really tell you a whole lot. So I
Right.
love I love how you did that. Is there a case that you or somebody that you've worked with that you just it was just very exciting, like you were very excited to help, or you helped in a really big way?
Yeah. I mean,
I mean, all of them probably, but
there's yeah, there's a bunch of good ones. Um, I'm really excited about the most recent one that I put up there, which was about the Chick-fil-A owner
mhm,
who he he really struggled with trying to find things, especially tax season, because it's running a business and doing taxes and having real estate investments and all this
sure,
stuff, and just being totally buried and having a hard time finding what he's looking for. And then being able to have an assistant, we brought, created a workflow for how his assistant could check his emails and how they could communicate to really minimize his time in that so that he could focus on
right,
developing his team. And then one of our other team members, Annie, she developed this whole hiring system for his a project in Asana for project management for hiring. And they ended up losing their director of talent, which is their recruiter. And
right,
that's a lot of hiring for a Chick-fil-A.
yeah,
And they didn't need to rehire someone because the template filled that
wow,
role for them. And someone else could just pull double duty and manage this template, and it just, everything was so much easier. So it's just realizing that we can make everyone's lives easier and just more enjoyable.
right,
And it could have a huge financial impact. Like this is a pushing $80,000 a year salary that didn't need to be replaced.
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's things like that of just eh, the relief and seeing how it can apply.
yeah,
And then Kyoko, she was able to take on twice the amount of clients in half the amount of time that she was spending before,
Wow.
after getting organized and then doing some really good project management work.
Yeah.
So,
So you talked about workflows, and I know that, like in Podmatch, I know that's something that they offer. To me, it seems like a whole lot of extra work. So maybe I'm not looking at it correctly, because the what I have written down for me to do all the things that I need to do, it seems like I have to go in and do that every time, which I'd rather do it right here where I can see it. You know what I mean? So maybe I'm not understanding workflows correctly. How do workflows help people? I mean,
um,
isn't it supposed to be automated? But
well, that is a great question. So, workflow just means the order in which you do things so
okay,
that it's consistent and it's efficient.
right.
And understanding your workflow or your system
Hmm.
is the key requirement to be able to automate something.
Right.
So, how do you know what to automate when you don't know what your system is or you're not doing it consistently? Because the whole point of automation is to do something that's or have something done automatically, which is tedious and
Yeah.
time consuming.
Yes.
So, or you want to increase accuracy so that every time an action happens, eight other actions happen simultaneously.
Right.
So, oh, an example workflow for me is a it would be like the client discovery call process.
Hmm.
So someone comes to my website and I have a Calendly
Hmm.
scheduler
Hmm.
embedded in the scheduling page, the booking page. And so when someone books there and confirms, the it automatically creates a calendar event for me, on my
Okay.
calendar. And then I have hooked it up with an automation tool to say, now in Google Drive, go get the sales call template,
Hmm.
duplicate it, put it in the prospects folder, and name it the date of the call and the name of the person. Well,
Oh,
actually, date of the call, appointment notes, and then the name of the person.
right.
So in my prospects folder, all of those documents templates appear automatically so I can run the exact same sales call. In
Right.
addition to that, it added them to my sales CRM. It
Hmm.
added them to Asana, our project management. It added them or it created a new template in uh, what is it? Um, Proposal,
Hmm.
and so it just does a whole bunch of things all at once that would take me maybe 5 minutes to do, but I would have to
Yeah.
do that for every single call. Another 5 minutes, go
Right.
in, create this and that, and like setting them all up. And usually I would do it right before a call, so I'm like clicking, and then
Right.
I hop on the call and smile and start talking.
Right.
So now all I do is click Chrome, click the prospects folder, and then find the next call that I'm having and open up that folder and just start taking notes.
Okay.
And everything else is already ready for me. So that
Yeah.
would be a workflow that I then automated.
Right. I was very proud of myself for, I use Calendly also, and I was very proud of myself for linking my welcome packet to the confirmation email that once somebody books a time, it automatically
Yes.
gets sends it. And I was very proud of that, but that's probably the only thing I've really accomplished. That's all
Yeah,
I
well,
did.
that's part of the workflow.
It
And
is.
it's realizing that, oh, I'm doing all of these other pieces
Right.
every time. And maybe it's not always consistent, but you want to start doing them consistently. So
Right.
that's where you can, write out a standard operating procedure, which shows all of the different steps and everything that's involved in that.
Yeah.
And then you can automate it if you want to, or you can just set it in your project management app to say, every time this happens, I want you to add in all of these tasks that I need to do. And you
Yeah.
can do them manually, and then you can learn how to automate them later.
Yeah. That's going to take me a while. I feel like once I learn something, there's something else new that I have
It
to learn.
truly is. This is not something that stops
Right.
because so I have all of these templates
Hmm.
and I've got one for doing a migration. So it's a technical migration. So if someone is using Microsoft Office and they want to start using Google Workspace instead, I have a whole process in which, bring them over. And then there's a lot of help articles attached to it. Well, both Google and Microsoft just updated their systems, and things don't look exactly the same. And the help articles haven't been updated yet.
Oh
And so
no.
now I'm having to figure it all out. And
Yeah.
now my systems are outdated. So it's one of those things that technology can be frustrating because it is constantly changing. And
Yeah.
so it's just so important to go a little bit slower and learn the tools that we have,
Mhm.
and so that when they change, we know what we're looking for in
Right.
the end, because they just moved the button from here to there or they redesigned it, but I still understand the purpose of this app and how it's intended to be used, and so
Yeah.
that will inform me to look in the right places, or look for the right thing in new places because they've just changed it.
Right. So who is a perfect client for your company? Who is an ideal client for your company?
I would say to somebody who is overwhelmed by technology, whether they're good at it and they just need to get things back under control, or um, you're a complete novice and you're overwhelmed and you need to get it under control. And now's a good
Mhm.
time to change things around.
Yeah.
Um, I like to niche down, but this really applies to absolutely everyone who needs
Yeah.
help in this. Um, so for us, an engagement typically starts at a couple $1,000. Um, but we have tools to self-implement as well.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And you talk to people pretty much online everywhere. This is not
That's right.
necessarily just a local, yeah.
Yeah.
It's all
Yeah.
over.
I'm just
Yeah.
hung up with someone in Canada.
Cool.
Earlier today on with someone in London,
Yeah.
Qatar, Dubai, New Zealand. It's all over the
Yeah.
place. Yeah. So you talked
Yes.
about liking paper and printing out some of these forms and stuff like that. And I really think that that's okay.
Okay.
Uh,
Good, because that's what I have to do right now.
I think the most important thing is feeling in control
Hmm.
and knowing where to find things.
Right.
That's ultimately what all of this stuff is created for.
Sure.
So we don't have to buy into the idea that you need to use technology to the nth degree.
Yeah.
What's the perp? It's supposed to serve us, not
Right.
we
Not
serve
stress us.
it.
Right.
And that's too many people get caught up in that, and I think it's about finding what works for you. And
Yeah.
what you might find is, in the end, paper isn't working for you anymore
Right.
because you want to be able to collaborate with someone on this document or do something differently, and so
Hmm.
then you will be hungry and ready to change. And then from that point, it's just learning how to do it well and to
Right.
give you the visual that you need. And you might be able to find that with a YouTube video, or you might want to hop on a call with someone and see if they can help.
Sure. I got on your website and did the quiz, but
Quiz.
then it told at the end it told me to set up a call, and I was like, well, I'm going to talk to him anyway.
Well,
Don't
you
need to
found that
finish.
I had broken an automation. So I had, and this is the annoying thing about automations, is they can break, or you make a small
Right.
change. And so I made a change to that one particular question. And
Yeah.
so it wouldn't let you proceed to getting your results without
Right.
booking a call with me.
Yeah.
And
I mean, for
I
a
was so,
business, I understand that's what you want is people, but I didn't just because I'm like, I'm going to
yes.
anyway.
Well, and it wasn't supposed to. And then I changed it because like, man, I really haven't gotten very many calls, or I haven't been at my signups for my email list have slowed down because
Yeah.
you get on my list by doing the
Right.
quiz. It's like,
That's too funny.
yeah,
There you
that's what
go.
happened. So I'm so glad you pointed that out, because who knows how much
Yeah.
longer it would have gone on broken.
I appreciate you talking to me and
Absolutely.
explaining what
Appreciate you
you
having
do.
me.
I'm going to be brave and go through my email inbox. Now, I'm not
Mhm.
the person, the people that have their phone and they have 4,322 emails on
Yeah.
there. I that gives me a panic attack. Like I
Yeah.
go through them, but I do sort them. I do like knowing where they are. And I don't
Hmm.
keep everything. Like I
Yeah.
keep people, guests that I talk to, correspondence, stuff like that. I keep
Yeah.
taxes, things like that. But
Yeah.
probably a lot of things I don't need to. So,
Yeah. I mean, I keep more than I need, just because, like, will I Will I potentially look for that again? I don't
Right.
want to waste time looking for something and not be able to find it.
Right.
When an email is tiny,
Yeah.
what's it going to matter to
Right.
to have that? But it's the big thing is there something that's in that email that can be saved somewhere else that just makes more sense in a more focused spot? So
Sure.
taxes, really the only thing tax related I'm looking for in email would be things that I communicated with my bookkeeper or my accountant with,
Right.
talking about the taxes. But if there was a file that was sent to me, that file gets downloaded and gets put into financials, taxes, 2024
Right.
taxes.
Yeah. Do you
So that
recommend having an like an external hard drive like to save things on? Do you recommend extra places to save stuff or
I would say use it as a backup.
yeah.
And like an automated backup that
Hmm.
when you plug it in, it just does it automatically. For Windows, there's some different tools for it. For Apple, it's as easy as using Time Machine.
Yeah.
And that way it'll download things automatically for you. But I like having all of my stuff in Google Drive
Oh, okay.
or an iCloud. I want
Yeah.
it in some sort of cloud system so that
Yeah.
it'll sync to multiple places.
Yeah.
The downside with that is if you're not syncing and downloading all of those files, then they're not going to back up to that hard drive. So
Right.
we need some other tool to be able to do that. So, um, the good thing is you can delete something in Google Drive and restore it 30 days later.
Yeah.
I've never had a corrupt Google Doc sheet or slide. That's why I'm a big fan of Google
Yeah.
Drive and the Google Workspace, like the official business one,
Yeah.
because I don't have corrupt documents.
Yeah.
You
There you
know,
go.
I don't, it's just always works. It's
Right.
fast. It syncs everywhere. So
Well, I
yep,
appreciate you talking to me today.
sure thing.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. See you
Enjoy your
later.
evening.
Thanks for
Okay.
having me. You too.
Uh-huh.
Bye.
Bye-bye.